What's going on, guys? This is Miasin and welcome to my Tearalaments combo video and also deck profile. Of course, I'm actually combining both in one shot today. Only have 3 combos to show you guys. I'm going to go a little more in details about why that is the case when I start showing you guys the combos. But before this video starts, make sure you like and subscribe. Check me out on Twitch and Instagram. And as always, by the way, if this video gets 1,000 likes, I will be making a live stream on this deck. All I have right now is the field spell, nothing else. It gets kind of some form of snowballing and engine going, and you can interrupt your opponent pretty well. The field spell is actually pretty nice because it searches on activation. It boosts all of your fusion monsters or Tearalaments by 500 attack. When your Tearalaments monsters are returned from your field and or graveyard to the deck and or extra deck, you can destroy 1 card on the field, including your own cards. So that could actually be a way to destroy your own artifact scythe if you can fuse on your opponent's turn, instead of relying on stuff like Phoenix Enforcer, just assuming that Verte gets banned or something like that. So right now, I'm going to be searching the Reinoheart, and this is basically the Armageddon Knight of the deck. So when it is normal or special summoned, you can send 1 Tearalaments monster from your deck to the graveyard, and I will be foolishing for Meru, but they all have the same graveyard effects outside of Reinoheart. That is the only one that has a slightly different graveyard effect. So basically, when they're sent to the graveyard, you can fuse for any fusion monster using that specific Tearalaments that got foolished, as well as any other monsters from your grave, field, and hand. So that's pretty cool. I'm going to be fusing with the 2 monsters in order to make the new fusion monster Kitkalos. So if this card is special summoned, you can either search or foolish for a Tearalaments monster, and also has some other neat effects. And well, actually, it doesn't necessarily search a monster, it can search any Tearalaments card, so I will be searching Meta Noise, which is the trap card. Now, the funny thing about this archetype is that it actually doesn't have a single spell card up until now, which is unheard of for fusion decks. Yes, this is not a, a Tearalaments spell card. I know, man, this is crazy, but still searchable by terraforming, I guess, so you have 4 copies of this card. And Meta Noise is actually really broken. It's very similar to Sinister Shadow games, as in it Book of Moons your opponent's monster and also foolishes your deck for a Tearalaments monster. So that's actually pretty insane. So now let's just assume that I want to double interrupt my opponent. My opponent goes normal summon and then special summon from the deck. I will be able to Book of Moon one of those monsters, and on top of that, I'm going to be again foolishing for a Tearalaments that isn't the Reinoheart. And I will be using its fusion ability, using the other Kitkalos to make another Kitkalos, and then go Chainlink 1 to search, and then Chainlink 2 to pop a card on the field. So just like that, I was able to Book of Moon a monster my opponent controls, and also search a card. And of course, this is we're not done yet, by the way. Again, I want to show you how much you can snowball just with 1 single card. So now I will be using the final effect of well, the second effect of Kitkalos. So I can target a monster on the field, and then revive back or special summon a Tearalaments from my hand or grave, and then send that monster to the grave. It's not a cost, so it actually triggers its final effect, which allows you to foolish for 5 cards on the top of your deck. I guess the correct term here is mill, but whatever. So I'm going to be using its effect, but not assuming that I get lucky. And of course, I'm going to be milling with the, well, foolishing with the Reinoheart right after. And yeah, as you can see, I don't want to showcase combos where I get super lucky and I just mill the actual crack. And this is the reason why making this combo video was one of the kind of most painful thing I've had to do in so long, because every single time I had to come up with a combo, I had to ensure that it wasn't, you know, me relying on luck with, you know, insane mails. Otherwise, it would have been like the equivalent of going, you know, I'm going to show you guys Infernoid combos with like Reasoning and Monster Gate, assuming that I mail 20 Infernoids. Of course not. I'm not going to do that. Anyways, I'm going to, of course, use the effect of the monster that I sent with the Reinoheart in order to make another motherfucking Kitkalos every single freaking turn. So search again, and then pop another card, and then attack, attack, attack. So I think you can understand where this is going. Every single turn, I get to Book of Moon, pop a card, but now it's actually going to be changing a little bit because I want to summon my main boss monster, which is this card right there. You're going to see it in a while. Actually, you're going to see it right now, because I'm going to use the effect of Meru in order to return all of my monsters in order to summon the Shaddoll, which allows me to shuffle back a card my opponent controls on top of the field spell, allowing me to destroy a card. So again, just like that, I can make my opponent lose a lot of cards, and I had the Book of Moon with the Meta Noise. So triple interruption, pretty freaking crazy. And you get to snowball like there's no tomorrow just with 1 single card. So that is kind of the beauty of this deck. It's kind of hard to break, but yes. Anyways, that's it for combo number 1. Let's get right into combo number 2 now. Alrighty, so combo number 2 is basically me just playing out a random hand that I drew. This is pretty interesting, and I got relatively lucky milling another Tearalaments, even though I'm not going to be using the other effects, so I'm only fusing once. And now I'm making the fusion monster search the missing trap. I didn't really need to draw the first one, but whatever, it is what it is. Send the Wendy, summon the Shaddoll Beast, and then Reinoheart Foolish again in order to send the other monster, and then make Shaddoll Winda, because your deck can actually do that. And I'm going to be popping my own Kit Kalos, because that allows me to fuse, mail for 5 cards. And then I mail the Incarnation, which allows me to flip the Shaddoll Beast, draw 2, discard 1, and by sending the Salic from my hand to the grave, as a card effect, I get to search my deck for a Tearalaments. So I have mother freaking 4 cards on in hand. Now I set 2, and I have Winda with everything, and I can fuse on my opponent's turn because, again, this is a Book of Moon and a card that allows you to fuse either for Winda or for basically anything. And I can actually make the Mega Boss monster right here, Reinoheart. So again, shuffle back a card my opponent controls, destroy a card on the field, could have been my opponent's card. Now I'm basically just flexing at this point, destroying my own Shaddoll Beast and drawing Ash. Absolute nonsense. But anyways, that's it for this combo. Let's get into the third and final one. Alright, combo number 3 and the last one. Basically, I have Foolish Barrel Goods with Reinoheart. Either that or Shaylin is actually pretty insane. And I also have the Continuous Trap card, which searches from the deck to the hand. The normal trap card searches from the graveyard, well, recycles back from the graveyard to the hand. And then I have 2 hand traps because, of course, we're trying to play hand traps in this kind of deck. I'm sending the Continuous Trap, so that allows me to search for a monster. In other words, Foolish Barrel Goods is a reinforcement of the army. You definitely want to play that at 3. And now I'm going to be using the effect of Shaylin, pitch the Reinoheart, and then send 3 cards. I'm good at the game, so I send Shaddoll Squamata. The first Reinoheart got discarded from my hand, so I can use its effect, revive itself back, and then send a Tearalaments card from my hand to the grave, which is also going to be triggering the second effect of Reinoheart, first one, in order to send a Tearalaments monster from my deck to the grave. And the Squamata sent the Wendy, and the Wendy summoned the Shaddoll Beast, in case you're wondering. And now the Reinoheart is going to be sending the Meru, and then fuse, using the Reinoheart from the grave and the Meru in order to make the Kit Kalos, search for the normal trap card, because that is the sick Book of Moon. And this is crazy, man. Redoer actually triggers your Tearalaments effects because it doesn't detach as cost, but rather as an effect. So very unique, because just like that, the Shaylin is going to be using its effect in order to make another Shaddoll Winda, well, a Shaddoll Winda, and then I get back my Time Thief Redoer, whatever, can use its effect. And I have my Meta Noise, which allows me to make the giant boss monster, Kaleido something, no, not Kaleido Chick, and I have Impermanent Veiler's Tale. So Winda, giant boss monster, Book of Moon, freaking Shaddoll Beast, everything, and Time Thief Redoer. So that's it for these combos. Let's get into the deck profile now. Okay, so this is the deck profile, and just to clarify a few things, this deck is not a combo deck whatsoever. It's more of a mid-range / control deck in a way. I think it is still lacking a little bit of support, but it is definitely going into a very bright direction. There are a lot of cards that I really appreciate, like Shaylin and Reinoheart. The field spell is absolute insanity, and the normal trap card, this card Meta Noise, is really cool, but the continuous trap is also pretty good, not for its real effect, but rather for its graveyard effect, so you can send it with Foolish Barrel Goods, or mill it with Shaylin, which actually mails 3 cards when it is summoned off of its own summoning procedure. So before we go any further into the deck profile, again, friendly reminder to like and subscribe. We are trying to hit 1,000 likes, so I will be making a live stream on this deck. And now let's proceed. So I'm playing 5 Shaddoll monsters, if I recall correctly. 1 Beast, 1 Dragon, 1 Squamata, 1 Ariel, and 1 Wendy. I think you can actually argue that the Shaddoll Dragon isn't even needed, and even the Ariel, yeah, you might be able to play less Shaddoll monsters, so you're not really trying to play Shaddoll Fusion, not playing Nadir Servant or anything like that, but Nadir Servant could actually also make sense. It depends, because I'm not necessarily summoning from the extra deck as often as I would like, so I could not really special summon the Ecclesia that often. Well, I can actually fusion summon on my opponent's turn, but it really depends, of course. A single card can actually get you to a fusion monster, so it's really not too bad. But anyways, 3 Shaylin, of course, this card is absolutely broken. 3 Reinoheart. I'm only playing 1 of the other smaller Tearalaments, so 1 Ophinis and 1 Meru. Ophinis is kind of ass, to be honest. It only summons itself when your opponent activates a monster effect on the field, not even overall. So if your opponent has a hand trap or a grave effect, it will not trigger. And then we got the Meru. If it's normal or special summon, you can Foolish the top 3 cards from your deck to your grave. I guess this card also sends the top 3 cards, but you're gonna have to play like 3 of every single Tearalaments and even like Farfa if you want to use this as like an actual hand trap. Otherwise, just not really worth it. Yeah, you can theoretically consider this as a hand trap if you're playing a really high count of Tearalaments and Shaddoll monsters, because you could technically summon wind on your opponent's turn, but is that really gonna come up? No, and this takes up your normal summon, and my real normal summon is Reinoheart. Realistically, this is a foolish that guarantees you a Tearalaments, where this is like RNG, like a Card Trooper-esque card. I'd rather play Armageddon Knight than Card Trooper if there's like specific cards that I want in my grave. Anyways, 9 hand traps if I recall correctly, so 3 Ash, 3 Veiler, 3 Imperm. But that still translates to multiple utility cards because I'm still playing Cosmic Cyclone, which is a card that a lot of people are not playing. And I'm playing 3 Foolish Goods with Foolish Burial for consistency. Foolish Goods allowing you to search a Tearalaments, and Foolish Burial just allowing you to trigger its graveyard effect so you can fuse. And Terraforming for 4 copies of the field spell, which searches a Tearalaments monster all by the grave so you don't get cooked by hand traps, obviously. Shaddoll Incarnation is a really cool card here because its graveyard effect is really relevant since you're always going to be foolishing for cards. And if you foolish this, it actually has value, but even if you draw it, it has value. So it's always good regardless. And then 2 Meta House with 2 Salic and 1 Crime. Crime is actually a little wag because you negate anything, sure, but then you have to send a monster from your hand to the grave, and you cannot legally activate this card if you have no monsters in your hand. Same thing with, there was another one that was kind of like, oh yeah, the Reinoheart, actually. So you're not allowed to use the second effect of a Reinoheart to revive itself back if you don't have a Tearalaments card in your hand. And that is kind of a little bit of a bummer. So if that second part of the effect didn't have to resolve, so if it was like optional, then this deck would have been like infinitely better, but it is what it is again. But yeah, anyways, that's it for the main deck. For the extra deck, this is not complete yet, so I definitely will be open to feedback. But I'm playing 2 Kaleido Heart, 1 Anoyatilis, so 1 Shaddoll Construct. This actually cannot be summoned, so I don't know why it's here. Same thing with Abkiller. Well, actually, they can be summoned with Shaddoll Schism, but am I really dedicating like 2 cards in my extra deck just for Schism that I don't think I can easily search anymore? 3 Kit Kalos. This card is actually the one that you summon the more often. It's level 5. 2 El Shaddoll Winda. This is a joke to summon. Super easy. And then Time Thief for Doer, Appaloosa, Unicorn, Phoenix, and Cross Sheep. For the most part, this is relatively straightforward and self-explanatory, but they're not like super broken, and you're not really going into them every single time. At the end of the day, this is like a Fusion Turbo deck, so you're not really linking off every single 2 seconds. But that's pretty much it for this video. Let me know what you guys actually think about this deck in the comment section below. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys very soon. Peace.